Hello.
Hello.
This is Moog and Boog. Matt in Brooklyn. And Juniper is sitting outside of the recording studio monitoring this. Just kidding. But she's outside the recording studio because she needs to lay on the couch and there's not enough room under the blanket for her.
Also, I don't want her to suffocate.
Yeah. Because Brooklyn still thinks that she'll suffocate.
Yep.
That's all right. Irrational fears are rational in your mind. Okay. Now what are we doing? Well, this week was fun. I don't know. It was very similar to last week, or the last week, kind of, at least at first, because it was very much just, we wake up, we've got a schedule with Juniper, Brooklyn works all day, I take care of the baby, do school, then at the end of the day, Brooklyn, we eat dinner real quick, and then Brooklyn works on Inktober and fashion studies. The difference this week was one, oh hey baby, was Halloween.
Yep.
Was this week, and that means that the end of Inktober was this week. So
Hooray.
we kind of we got to switch it up a little bit, which is great. This week, I mean, really, that's kind of it. Talk about we'll go there later. Yeah, basically, Brooklyn finished Inktober. She's been working on her fashion studies for CTN, which is doing another book. CTN is the Creative Talent Network, and it's the thing that we're tabling at. I think we talked about that. But now she's organizing the book of all of them, so she finished them all. Mm-hmm. How was that?
Good. I don't know if I talked to last year about how in like 2 months I finished enough to put in a book and some. Like I had extras that I couldn't fit into the book. And then this year I barely finished. It took me a whole year to finish. Was it 18?
Yeah.
24 illustrations?
24.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was it was pretty rough, but now we're done. We're ready for that. We're just going to do some printing. And then we're all good for there. So it should be relatively smooth sailing from here until the 20th of November, which is when the 21st, 20th? I can't remember. Yeah. One of those days in November.
When the convention is.
Is when the convention is. And then that'll be really exciting. A lot of work, but that's kind of what we're moving towards. So Inktober's over. That was really fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad it's over, though.
Either we will never do it again, or we'll do exactly what we did this year and choose to do it the day that it starts. So, which is probably more likely. That was good. Mm-hmm. Speaking as a subject or a third party, a subjective third party.
Yep.
It was fantastic. Brooklyn is the most talented artist you'll ever meet. Aww. And her Inktober was so fun. And so we're going to print some Inktober books, and that will be fun too. So we can get all those compiled, have some fun Halloween books. We're going to try and sell some, but
yeah, we'll see how they do.
But we'll see how they do. Not going to.
A lot of people try to sell their Inktober books at CTN.
Because it's just right after.
Yeah, it just happened. People are still excited about it. So we'll see. I mean, it's like Halloween themed, so I don't know like how relevant it is to people, but
it's kind of cute. We'll so people like cute things just in general.
Could be.
Baby's trying to take the pacifier. She's so funny because sometimes she doesn't want it, and then all of a sudden she'll start psyching out and be like, "Oh, I really wanted this.
And
I love
immediately
this."
Fall asleep.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, but so that's coming up. We're excited for that. That's all done though. So this week, the big thing that happened though is Halloween, and we both took Halloween off basically. I didn't do any homework, and Brooklyn didn't do any work.
Well, that's because Sony does this thing where they screen movies all day long.
Yeah.
That you can go to, and so I'm like, well, they're not really expecting us to work if they're allowing us to watch movies all day. So sometimes we'll go to the movies. Last year we did. This year, well we'll talk about this.
Yeah, yes. We'll get into the baby update and
crazy stuff happened that morning.
As far as like Halloween, like the things we did for Halloween though, is we went to Sony and they had pizza and a big costume contest. They had cotton candy and popcorn, kind of like the normal type of parties that they do. They had
a photo booth thing.
A photo booth thing. So we were crayons And I was a very bright type of blue, and they do this photo booth at every party. They have this photo booth, but this one was they always have a green screen, and then they overlay like a Happy Halloween thing on the background kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I dissolved into the background because I guess I didn't know this, but I guess like it's not so much about your shirt being the green color, but just kind of like the right hue, maybe.
Yeah, the same vibrancy.
Yeah, I don't know. Exactly. We actually didn't look it up. Maybe we should have done that before talking about it. But so I like was dissolved into the background. But it was kind of a funny picture. Pretty fun. And Juniper looks like she's gonna die in it, so it's kind of funny. We got some better pictures later, but
yeah, but she was cute. It's a cute little crayon.
Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, a cute little crayon." All of them did that.
People love babies.
People love babies.
Yeah.
Especially little babies.
Yeah, it's like, that is a brand new baby.
You're like, you're right. You are correct. That is what this is. And so that was really fun. We didn't go to any of the showings, though, because of some other things that we'll talk about. But it was really good. I met Brooklyn's directors for the new show that she's working on. And then we just hung out with some of her friends, some of our friends, I guess, that are at Sony. It was fun.
Yeah.
Halloween's kind of fun. I always think that it's so lame, but it's kind of fun. Just kidding. We talked about Halloween last time. It's all right. We had a lot of fun. And then we came home. We ate treats and dinner.
Too many treats. It was
we watched a movie. Bad. We watched Beetlejuice. We'll talk about that later.
Matt hated it.
I hated it.
I thought it was kind of fun.
It sucked. And then we ate dinner, and then we ate some treats, and then so yesterday, Luigi's Mansion, no, not yesterday, Halloween, Luigi's Mansion came out, and for those of you who don't know what Luigi's Mansion is, Luigi, Mario's brother in Mario, there are a couple games called Luigi's Mansion where he is, because he's kind of a scaredy cat, and he gets stuck in a mansion, or in this case it's a hotel, and he uses this like Ghostbusters type vacuum thing to suck up all the ghosts, and it's a series that they've been doing. They just released a new one for the Switch, and we played that together. We turned out all the lights and we played it, and it was really fun.
It was really fun.
Yeah. And we'll probably throw in a deeper dive in the opinion segment, but it was a very Halloween-y thing to do. Very just like, I think we did it actually another Halloween where we played actual scary games.
Oh yeah, was
played
it
like Little Nightmares or
yeah,
Inside or something
freaky.
like that. And they're like, this game is much more like fun Halloween-y. It's like, it's not actually scary. Funny ghosts, but in kind of a haunted kind of place. So it was fun. And then we went to bed. This is not a really huge thing, but 2 days ago we went to bed at 8:30 because we were so tired.
This baby's gonna explode. Sorry.
Baby's gonna explode. Brooklyn's gonna take a step out of the studio. That's fine. Okay. A little bit of a jump cut there because the baby blew up. Brooklyn is now feeding her, and so that's better than what was happening. Because if you want just the quick rundown of what happened, we were going to attempt to bring the baby into the blanket studio, and Brooklyn bonked her head on the mop? With my elbow. Oh, she bonked her head with her elbow, and then kind of bonked her head on the microphone, and the baby blew up. It was a crisis, but we took care of it. Brooklyn's not here anymore, so I'm gonna talk, but I can still hear her. You can probably still hear her a little bit. I may just ask her questions sometimes during this thing. So, just to get this all recorded, so we can get it done. Though, it was the night before Halloween, and all through the house, not a baby was peeing, not even a little bit, and so we were. That was kind of funny, huh? I didn't even plan that. So it was the night before Halloween, and Brooklyn woke me up in the middle of the night and was like, Juniper has not peed at all. Like, and she was really worried about it. Just had like a bone dry diaper after 7 hours of being asleep, and that's really odd. And we're new parents and we just don't know anything about babies. And so Brooklyn had looked a bunch of stuff up, but in the morning, she's like, I'm going to call and make sure that's okay. So Juniper did end up finally having she did pee in her diaper just before we called the nurse, but as we were talking to the nurse was like, they always go through these like steps. They make you answer a bunch of questions, and then they have you hold the microphone really close to the baby's mouth so that they can hear the breathing and stuff like that. And so after she heard the breathing, the lady was like, that breathing sounds kind of weird. You may want to go to the ER, like to the emergency room, and just kind of get in and see a doctor really quick. And so us being terrified new parents were like, well, okay, like we'll go, like we're gonna do anything we can. So we go to the emergency room, we go in, and the whole time both of us are like these people, what if they think we're stupid and stuff like that. But we went in and they were actually really, really nice. Nothing was wrong in the end. They talked about how it is abnormal for babies not to pee so often, but sometimes it's just because maybe they didn't eat as much. And so we learned a lot about things, but that was why we missed the showings of movies in the morning is because our baby was in the emergency room, but she is 100% healthy and fine, which is, it's also good, kind of comforting to know that, that the baby's fine. But it was just so, sorry, I missed part of this. The day before that was her 2-month checkup, the 2-month well baby visit. And we went in and they gave her vaccinations. And when she got those shots, she screamed. She's cried, and she's cried really loud, but never the way that she did when she got those vaccinations. It was heartbreaking. And the doctor had just really briefly mentioned that there are some things that can happen, some side effects of vaccines that can happen within a couple of days, which is like a fever and some other things that she can be extra fussy and stuff. And so we're like, okay, yeah. And she was really fussy. We gave her some Tylenol and stuff. And then we weren't sure if it was like, is it a side effect of Tylenol to have her not pee? Is it a side effect of vaccines or whatever? And we asked, and really when it came down to it, it was a normal thing, but we were just really concerned about it. So
because I had pumped like an hour before feeding.
Yeah. So Brooklyn had pumped just before feeding, and so, well, that's what the doctor said she thought, is that maybe she didn't get enough food kind of thing, but she slept so long it was hard to say, because usually if she's hungry she wakes up. So but that was a good experience. Now we know where the emergency room is at the hospital, so there's pluses, like upsides to everything. And they were really nice about it. The doctor that saw us was talking about how she had the same things happen with her kids, where it's just like you don't know what's going on, and so it's better that we come in, and maybe they say that just because then they can get our money, but wasn't actually. I mean, the insurance is good. So anyway, that's what happened. It was wild. So the other wild, I'm in the baby update section of our outline now, but the other thing that happened with the baby is this week I was feeling good about being a dad, and Brooklyn had kind of like this meeting thing going on, and I was like, you know what? And so Brooklyn needed to go to work, she had the option to go to work. I was like, no, you know what? You should go and go to this screening of this movie. And it was a screening for a new short that one of our friends, directed. Andy Erickson is his name. And he's a pretty cool dude. He goes to the same church building that we do, but he's in a different ward. But anyway, so Brooklyn wanted to be there, and I was like, okay, I can take this baby to Institute, because usually Institute is at the time where she's usually going down, so I put her down and then I go to Institute. So the most that Brooklyn usually has to do then is maybe like wake her up right before I get home, or feed her right before I get home, kind of thing. But this time I was like, no, I can do it. So I put some, we decided against hauling breast milk there, so I put some formula into the baby, or into the diaper bag, and got the bottles. I was like ready. And so I got there, strollered her all the way to the Institute building. It was really nice, a really good walk. And we go in, and I'm in an Institute class with like 3 other people, and that's all. And so it was pretty chill. And I figured, like, if she cries, it's not really a big deal if I have to walk out, and it's just a couple people. It's not like I'm really disturbing like a whole classroom of people. But so she did really well for the first 10 minutes, and like I was able to participate and stuff. And then she started getting fussy in her carrier, and I was like, okay, I'll pull her out and hold her for a second. So I pulled her out and held her. And then she just kind of progressively got fussier and fussier. And I thought, because she had just been fed a little, like not very long ago, and usually she can go a little time between feedings, but I thought, okay, well, I'll just rock her. She just kind of needs to go back to sleep. She's in a new place and stuff. And it just kept building and building. So I was like, okay, I left the room pretty early on, and I'm kind of holding her out in the hall, and I'm kind of just patting her back. And so I didn't bring the diaper bag with me when I left the room, which was the first mistake, which I make twice, but I left the room. I'm kind of like, got her up against my chest, and I'm kind of patting her back. She spits up all over my shirt. And so I'm like, oh gosh. And so she's kind of crying, and she spit up on me, and I'm like, I gotta go back into the room. So I go in, she's still crying, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And I like unzip the diaper bag and grab a burp cloth out of it and leave. Again, didn't take the diaper bag with me. And so I go like into the farthest room where there's no one's in it, and she just keeps crying and crying, and it gets louder and louder. And eventually I'm like, holy cow, this is her being hungry. Like, then I realize it as a hungry cry, not just a fussy cry. And I'm like, oh man. And I was like, the diaper bag's still in the room. So I go in, and she is screaming as I go and get the diaper bag, and I walk out, and I go into the little kitchen they have, which I didn't realize at the time. I don't know why, probably because the baby was screaming, but it's right next to the room that we have the class in. And so I walked in, and there's like doors between it. So I know that they could hear her like wailing the whole time, but I'm like, trying to like warm up some water really quick to put in the bottle and make some formula. So I'm holding her and rocking her while I'm warming up water. And then the water gets the right temperature, and I put the bottle in and stuff. And then I go to get the formula, but we've never used formula because we've been breastfeeding exclusively and just pumping and using a bottle with breast milk. And so I like trying to open the formula with one hand, but that's impossible because it's like this crazy foil wrap kind of thing. And so I have to set her down. So I gently put her onto the counter. She hates counters. I mean, everyone should hate counters because they're so hard. And I just, as I set her bum down, and as I was pulling out my other hand, though, she kind of slipped, and she bonked her head on the counter and just screamed and was wailing. And I'm like trying to make this formula super fast, this bottle really fast. And then I like jam the bottle into her mouth, and she's perfectly fine kind of thing. And then I go in for the last couple seconds. She's getting fussy now because I'm talking bad about her. But I went and I went back in and like kind of participated for the last couple minutes while she was eating the bottle. And I was just like, what a classic adventure. Like, first time I take out the baby, she just like spits up on me and cries. And then I bonk her head and she cries. And oh man, it's crazy. But also this week, just a couple of days ago, I was like, you know what? I know how to do it now. And I took her and I ran errands with her, and I did such a good job. I went and dropped off our rent, and I went to the DMV and renewed our registration, because they have kiosks to do that. If I had to like wait in line and sit and stuff, there's no way I would have done that, like, ever. But they have little kiosks, and it doesn't take very long. So I just went in and got that. And then I went to Costco and I shopped with her, but I didn't realize that we just needed a little bit of stuff. But I didn't realize that I wasn't going to really be able to get her into our like in the cart and all the stuff. So I had to just put it in the stroller, like the stuff in the stroller. I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff I need to learn, but I felt really good about that because I fed her before I went to Costco, and she was fine the whole time, and I did a good job, except for I did forget the diaper bag at first. So I went and dropped off rent, and then realized I didn't have the diaper bag. So rent our landlord doesn't live very far away from us. So I came back for that. But other than that, always forgetting the diaper bag. Yeah, but that was pretty much it. She's been good though. She's such a good baby and we love her. She's super cute. But that's kind of the baby stuff. The last two parts are opinion segment the last thing is the opinion segments. And so I'm going to give you my opinions on these things. We have talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it again because we like it so much. Mod Pizza is just so good. Like it's a Subway of pizzas basically, and you can just make whatever you want, but it's inexpensive and the pizzas taste really good and we love it. 10 out of 10. We've been there a couple times recently. Brooklyn, what do you think?
I love it.
She loves it.
Great crust.
She loves the crust. Yep. And then the other one is we watched Beetlejuice on Halloween. The reason we watched Beetlejuice is because that's what was showing at Sony that we were going to go watch. And neither of us had ever seen it before. And so essentially, without giving, because we don't want to spoil anything in opinion segments, essentially it's about a family, a couple who die and become ghosts and are trying to get the next family out of their house. Like they're haunting their house, their own house kind of thing. And they're like pretty nice people and they're learning how to haunt and stuff. And at some point they try to get help from a character named Beetlejuice. And he is a really just kind of like gross ghost that in the movie they call him a bioexorcist. So it's basically like an exorcist but for humans, right? To get like humans out of your house. So that's the premise. It's directed by Tim Burton, and there's definitely parts that are very Tim Burton-y kind of thing, but it was so dumb. Brooklyn kind of liked it. I think mostly for the quirky parts, but Beetlejuice, the title character, he's actually not in it very much. Like which is weird. There's a lot of like dumb, I don't know. I didn't like it very much. He's a very crude and crass character and without reason to be kind of thing. They just kind of, yeah, it was just kind of a weird, it was a weird movie. The premise is really interesting though. The idea of like, oh, you've died and now you have to haunt your house or something like that, you know? Yeah, I think, yeah, you learn how to be a dead person. That's really interesting and funny. And those parts I actually did like, but just like the whole character of Beetlejuice was just a disaster. Like I didn't like it. As a matter of fact, my parents did not let me watch Beetlejuice as a kid, and I understand why now. And I should have just listened to them and just never watched it. Right?
I don't know. I think it's a good like pop culture reference to know.
Brooklyn.
I'm back.
Brooklyn's back.
Hopefully the baby's okay.
She'll be okay.
She's okay.
But yeah, so what did you think about it though?
Yeah, I wish that they had done something else with his character. Like I was telling Matt, it would have been cool, even if he still looks kind of gross and creepy, like if he had been a really like smooth and charming personality that gets people to, so basically he tries to get people to recruit him to help them, you know, with getting rid of humans. But if he had been really smooth and charming and had been able to get them, sorry, what am I saying? Like
if he wasn't he was like immediately like a pretty disgusting character. Like they didn't develop him at all. Supposedly he's supposed to be like trying to sell his service as a bioexorcist, but he wasn't ever smooth. He wasn't ever appealing. Like he's just a disgusting
just like
character.
Yeah, the kind that you don't want. I don't know. You don't want to like deal with ever. And...
Yeah, basically Brooklyn, for fans of The Office, he's like a Todd Packer character where he's just gross to be gross. Like and we didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
And I would never watch it again or suggest anyone to like or recommend it to anyone to watch ever. I wouldn't.
Matt hated it.
I hated it. I really thought it was bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10. I really wouldn't recommend it to anyone. If they wanted to see some of their like this was before Nightmare Before Christmas and some of the other stuff like Tim Burton had done like that. And they did some interesting like stop motion sequences with the way that they haunted things, or they like pull their faces into kind of scary masks and stuff. And I think if anyone wants to see that, because I think that's where a lot of the value of that movie is from, is some of the effects and the stuff that they did with that. You should just go look up a YouTube video of like the effects that they did in Beetlejuice. So anyway, the baby's gonna cry again, and we're pretty much done. You got anything else, Brooklyn? Brooklyn doesn't have anything else. I don't have anything else. And so we're gonna wrap this up with a big ol' I love you. And that's all. Oh, actually, I do want to just say Juniper's favorite song right now is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. If you sing it to her at all, she just like gets so happy and smiley, and I think that's cute. So, all right, that's it, because baby's gonna blow. Anyway, we love you, and we'll see you next week or whenever you're gonna listen to this.